Hi everyone, it's your librarian Melissa. Today I will be reading you the story Dog Breath, The Horrible Trouble with Hallie Tosis. There once was a dog named Hallie who lived with the Tosis family. Hallie Tosis was a very good dog, but she had a big problem. Now, what do you suppose that problem could be? Look at the family all pinching their noses. And look at the dog's breath. Seems to be this stinky green air. And the book is called Dog Breath. So what do you think Hallie's problem is? Well, I'll give you a clue. The name Hallie Tosis sounds a little bit similar to the word halitosis, which is the scientific name for bad breath. So let's see if Hallie indeed has stinky breath. Okay. Hallie Tosis had horrible breath. Just as I suspected. Whenever Hallie Tosis opened her mouth, horrible things happened. What kind of horrible things are happening in this picture? We've got her breath coming out. Looks like all the leaves on the tree are falling out. Looks like the family goldfish is dead from the bad breath. Even the woman named Mona Lisa in this painting looks like she can't stand the smell. And also notice how all of the wallpaper is peeling off of the walls, all because of Hallie's breath. When the children took Hallie Tosis for a walk, everyone else walked on the other side of the street. Even skunks avoided Hallie Tosis. Right? Is a skunk known for smelling good? Right? Do we think skunks smell good? Probably not. So the fact that a skunk would think that Hallie has stinky breath would mean it's pretty bad. Even the baby in the baby stroller is pinching their nose because they can't stand the smell. Everyone across the street and the brother and sister all holding their noses because poor Hallie stinks so bad. But the real trouble started one day when Grandma Tosis stopped by for a cup of tea. And Hallie jumped up to say hello. Right? So why do you think that was trouble when Hallie went to say hi to Grandma? How do you think Grandma feels about Hallie giving her a big kiss with her stinky breath? Does she look happy? I don't think she looks so happy. Poor Grandma's hair is standing up in the air, and her teacup came flying out of her hands. But Hallie looks very friendly. I think she's just trying to give Grandma a kiss. Oh, yes. Poor Grandma. She fell over in her chair. Her feet are sticking straight up in the air. And here's Hallie's breath all over the room, stinking up the place. Sure enough, Mom and Dad don't look too happy about that, pinching their noses. And the dog, Hallie, just looks like she didn't mean to do it. She didn't mean to have stinky breath. Mr. and Mrs. Tosis were not amused. Something has to be done about that smelly dog, they said. The next day, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis decided to find a new home for Hallie. So they're putting up a sign here that says, "Free dog to a good home." Do you think they're happy about that? Do you think they're happy to give away their pet dog? Look at the mom and dad crying. Look at the brother and sister crying. Right? The children knew that the only way they could save their dog was to get rid of her bad breath. So they took Hallie Tosis to the top of a mountain that had a breathtaking view. Here they are making their way up to the mountain. And what's this we see on the tree? It says, "Wanted for burglary," right? So burglary refers to a person who was a robber, robbed someone's house. And we have two pictures of two robbers here. I wonder if that is important to the story. We'll see in the next pages how that ties in, if it does. So they took her to the top of a mountain to take her breath away, but do you think it worked? Do you think the view took away their dog's stinky breath? Doesn't look like it. Still see the green breath floating off the mountain, and the sun looks like they're trying to cover their nose up because the smell is so bad, right? They hoped that the breathtaking view would take Hallie's breath away, but it didn't. Next, the children took Hallie Tosis to a very exciting movie. They hoped that all the excitement would leave Hallie breathless. It looks like there's another picture. More local robberies. They're the same pictures again of those two men that must have been robbing people's houses. And the name of the newspaper is the Daily Foreshadow. Foreshadow is a word that refers to something that gives a clue to something that's going to happen later in the story. So can this be giving us a clue about these two robbers? All right, so they went to the movies hoping it would take the dog's breath away. Do you think that worked? Doesn't look like it. The people on the screen, the actors, are holding their breath and spraying a can of air freshener to get rid of the smell, right? So did it work? No, it didn't. Finally, the children took Hallie Tosis to a carnival. They hoped that Hallie would lose her breath on the speedy roller coaster. You think that would work? Does it look like the roller coaster took her breath away? Looks like her breath stunk everybody to death. Look at them all. They look terrible. They look miserable because their stinky breath made them pass out. Ah, see, but that idea stunk too. And when they say stunk, they mean it stunk. The plans to change Hallie's bad breath had failed. Now, only a miracle could save Hallie Tosis. Sadly, the three friends said goodnight, unaware that a miracle was just on the horizon. And notice how the illustrator, the person who makes the pictures, included this window. And there seems to be two people with a flashlight walking by. I think they look a little bit like those two robbers we saw in an earlier page. There we go. There are the two robbers I was just telling you about. Later that night, when everyone was sound asleep, two sneaky burglars, right, that means robbers, crept into the Tosis house. The two burglars were tiptoeing through the dark, quiet rooms when suddenly they came upon Hallie Tosis. Yikes! Whispered one burglar. It's a big, mean, scary dog. Aw, don't be silly, whispered the other burglar. That's only a cute little fuzzy puppy. The two burglars giggled at the sight of such a friendly little dog. That dog couldn't hurt a fly, whispered one burglar. Come here, Poochie Poochie, whispered the other. So Hallie Tosis came over, and what do you think she did? Gave the burglars a nice big kiss. Slurp! You think the burglars are happy to get a kiss from Hallie? And if not, why not? Well, her breath's pretty stinky. Look at the stinky breath getting all over the place. I don't think the burglars like getting a stinky kiss. No, doesn't look like they liked it at all. Look at them lying on the floor on their backs, feet sticking up in the air just like Grandma, and their eyes are X'd out like they fainted on the floor. Right? The next morning, the Tosis family awoke to find two burglars, the robbers, passed out cold on their living room floor. It was a miracle! Now, why was that a miracle that Hallie gave the two robbers a kiss and made them fall on the floor. Remember what the book said earlier, that they had to get rid of Hallie because of her bad breath. But now, looks like her bad breath saved the day because she protected her family from those robbers. Yep, sure enough, she's become very famous. All these newspaper articles were written about her, and she has a medal that says Hero. The Tosis family got a big reward for turning in the crooks, and soon Hallie Tosis was the most famous crime-fighting dog in the country. In the end, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis changed their minds about finding a new home for Hallie. They decided to keep their wonderful watchdog after all. So a watchdog means that she watched over the house and protected her family. Notice they're putting up a new sign. This home protected by dog breath. And they threw out that old sign that said they were getting rid of the dog. And now, how do you think the family feels? They're smiling. Even though they're holding their noses because her breath still stinks, they're happy now. Right? How do you think they look in this picture? They're all smiling. The dog's breath still stinks, as we can see with this green cloud here. And now they're wearing nose clips, but they're smiling, right? Because life without Hallie Tosis just wouldn't make any sense. And by sense, they mean the smell scent, and also that it simply wouldn't make sense not to have their smelly dog as a pet that kept them safe.